Wow, what a golden opportunity Halloween has brought me this year. Not only have I been dying, if you'll pardon the pun, to make some Danganronpa videos, but the spoopy occasion has even fallen on a NintenDan upload day. So let's dive right into the world of Danganronpa and explore something the series is very well known for. Bad death. In the event of a rule break or to conclude each class trial, the student voted as the Blackened receives a very over-the-top execution known as their punishment, and today I'll be ranking these executions based on how much I like them, how well I think they're made, and how creative I think they are. Notice I'm using the word I a lot because this is my personal list and subjective opinion, so don't go getting mad at me when waifu number 7's execution isn't at the top. If you've got your own list, great, be sure to respectfully share it in the comments. Speaking of which, this is your final warning as we head into spoiler territory. If you haven't played or watched the Danganronpa trilogy before, please stop what you're doing as I'll be going over every character execution, not including those from Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls or the Danganronpa anime. On top of that, while they are listed as executions on the Danganronpa wiki, I won't be including either Monomi or Nekomaru Nidai's quote-unquote executions because neither of them died, and fuck you, I wanted to keep it at 20. Also, I apologise in advance if I get some of the pronunciations of these names wrong. I'm trying my best. But with that being said, let's get started with part 1 of the top 20 Danganronpa executions. Let's do it. Number 20 goes to Bye Bye Ouchies. After a trial that most would consider the worst in the franchise's history comes an equally disappointing execution featuring Mikon Tsumugi as she lies in a hospital bed that transforms into an arm rocket when jabbed with a giant syringe. Apparently Mikon doesn't like giant things, and it launches her into space. Yeah, just reading it out loud now reinforces how stupid this execution is, and we haven't even touched upon how sexualized it is for no apparent reason. I get that Mikon has remembered her state of despair by this point, and there's probably not a lot you can do to her that would actually mean much, but man, this was random. There is a theory that this is a hallucination caused from a lethal injection, and I guess that would make sense, but it doesn't make it any less lame than it already is. Man, they really did Mikon dirty, in more ways than one. Number 19 is the Spears of Gakuen. Who knows if that's how you pronounce it. Mukuro Ikusaba, disguised as Junko Inoshima, is violently stabbed by a bunch of spears that emerge from the floor and impale the unassuming Despair sister. It's incredibly short, but more impactful due to the shock factor since it comes out of nowhere and is used to showcase what will happen if anyone defies the almighty Monokuma or breaks the rules, as well as setting up the twist to the mastermind at the end of the game. The execution itself isn't anything special though, in fact I forgot all about it when I was compiling this list for the first time. Sorry Mukuro, always in your sister's shadow, aren't you? Number 18 goes to a classic, it's Blast Off. Not only is this our first introduction to the executions of Danganronpa, this is our first introduction to, well, Danganronpa. The execution of Jin Kirigiri, who at the time we think is just some random guy, takes place right at the start of the first Danganronpa game without any context at all. It was confusing. It may be the first execution, but it's definitely not the most exciting one, with Monokuma trapping Jin in a rocket before launching him into space, and watching him crash back down right in front of a very gleeful Monokuma, where it's revealed that Jin's body has been reduced to nothing but bones. These very bones are found again by Makoto and Kyoko in a gift box during the final investigation. Ah, Monokuma, you shouldn't have. No, really, you shouldn't have. Like, what the fuck? Number 17, it's the Cage of Death. Definitely known as another weird execution, Danganronpa's second trial concludes with Mondo Owada being turned into butter, in which Monokuma then puts on a stack of pancakes. Okay. How did this happen? Well, Mondo is forcibly driven into the Cage of Death via his crazy diamond motorcycle, where he spins around and gets electrocuted at the same time. It's implied that both the high speed of the motorcycle combined with the electricity liquefies Mondo's body and turns him into butter. This execution is actually based off a children's story in which two tigers run around a tree so fast that they turn into butter, in which a family then consume with pancakes. Unique? Yeah, I'll give it that, but I'm personally not a fan of the sillier executions. It kind of takes away from the character's depth in my eyes. But I can definitely see it being Monokuma's cup of tea, or rather slab of butter. That bear will mock you even as he's killing you, huh? Number 16, Excavator Destroyer. Ah, Chihiro Fujisaki. So nice they killed him twice. After their death at the hands of Mondo, in Chapter 3 it is revealed that Chihiro designed a special program called Alter Ego, which in the chapter following that, Monokuma destroys with a giant dozer that he repeatedly smashes into the shape of a bull and then brands with a muzzle and Monokuma-styled evil eye. What makes this one extra cruel is that Alter Ego didn't break any rules or even participate in the trial, yet is destroyed by Monokuma in an unexpected and very violent execution as a special guest appearance. The execution itself was a bit lazy and not very interesting in my opinion, which makes sense. Monokuma probably had to make something up on the spot, and being just a computer program, Monokuma practically felt that he could do whatever he wanted with it. But it was still so sad seeing Chihiro fall victim to a second killing, and so undeservedly too. Number 15, Wild West Insecticide. Unlike with Mikan sharing both a bad trial and a bad execution, Gonta Gokuhara's case is a little different in that the execution is more of a letdown compared to how the rest of the trial was going. Gonta is tied to a post in a Wild West setting in which he endures shots from a robotic wasp gun until a giant wasp bursts out of Monofani's belly and impales Gonta through the stomach, and Monokuma sets him, his alter ego, and the giant wasp on fire with a flamethrower. What the fuck was the inspiration behind this one, guys? Why the Wild West theme? Why robotic bugs rather than real ones? And why the flamethrower? That doesn't match either of these things. There's a lot going on and none of it really fits with each other, making this execution look like a random compilation of references. Who knows, maybe we were supposed to be confused about this one because that's how Gonta feels all the time. Either way, I'm just glad we didn't see Gonta getting eaten alive by bugs or something. That would have really caused a sleepless night. Number 14 is the Cultural Melting Pot. Yeah, I won't sugarcoat it. Korikyo Shinguji isn't my favourite Dongus Rhombus character in the world, so it should come to no surprise at all when I say that I felt pretty damn indifferent about his execution. Korikyo is first tied up and spun around rapidly by two of the Monokubs, something that I'm pretty sure he would enjoy, before the ties are cut off by a samurai and he is sent plummeting down only to land into a boiler where he proceeds to be boiled to death. But it doesn't stop there. Korikyo's spirit then emerges and seemingly goes to reunite with his sisters before being cock-blocked by Monokuma himself, who shows up and throws salt onto Korikyo's spirit along with his sister, who does the same thing while looking way too excited about it. I mean, way too excited about it. God damn, this one was cruel. In fact, a lot of the V3 ones were. The sister excitedly betraying Korikyo as she threw salt onto him really sealed the deal here. They basically killed him twice. But to be honest, this was another one that was too weird for me. I don't like it when Danganronpa introduces supernatural elements to its scenes, so you can probably guess how I felt about the chapter this execution took place in as a whole. It says a lot when I'm feeling sadder about Monodam dying than I am Korikyo. But let's be honest with ourselves, Monodam was the best Monoko. Number 13, the Ultimate Annihilation. The final execution in Danganronpa V3 has both Tsumugi Shirogane and Monokuma get crushed to death by falling debris as Kibo, controlled by the outside world, destroys the entire Danganronpa V3 set and then self-destructs to create an opening to the outside world. I have really mixed feelings on this one. As cool as it is seeing Kibo destroy everything, it's somewhat an anticlimactic execution, and it was a shame to see Kibo literally blow himself up just to make a fucking hole in the wall. But perhaps by that point it was too late to bring the old Kibo back anyway. All in all, this execution was pretty sloppy and chaotic, which makes sense since it was improvised on the spot, but it wasn't bad, and at least Kibo made sure to check Shuichi, Maki and Himiko were still alive. And you gotta give it to him, my man went out in style. And number 12 is the Gundam Tanaka Stampede. Okay, now we're getting onto the decent ones. People are probably gonna yell at me for not putting this one higher, but whatever. The execution of Gundam Tanaka is as overrated as the character himself. Oh shit, shots fired. Only joking, but not really. Gundam is ran over by a stampede of animals Lion King style after departing from his 4 dark davas of destruction and drawing a magic circle with a stick. I know people like to think that Gundam's magic spell was to protect his hamsters, but there's really no evidence for this, and I personally believe it was just used to raise our hopes a little bit for a split second, before seeing Gundam inevitably get killed. After all, Monokuma is a big fan of that tactic, and we've seen it be used in other executions as well as the anime itself. Not a bad execution nonetheless, but in true Danganronpa fashion, it then gets weird and has animal angels carry Gundam to heaven. I see the irony, I see what you're going for, but I'm just not personally a fan of this, for the same reason why I didn't like it in Korikyu's execution, and I feel it's more used because the writer really liked Gundam and wanted to give him a nice send-off. I mean, even Monokuma is sending his respects, I think. Either way, he's not giggling to himself like he usually does. I think people overrate this one because of the sad hamsters personally. And the final one for this video, number 11, is After School Lesson, an execution shared by both Makoto Naegi and Kyoko Kirigiri, depending on whether you call out Kyoko's lie in the 5th class trial or not. Either Makoto or Kyoko is sat in front of a desk which is travelling on a conveyor belt while Monokuma teaches them the birds and the bees. At the end of the conveyor belt is a massive block crusher that slams down every few seconds. Makoto's version is what actually happens in the story, however, with Kyoko's being a bad end route in the game, and as we all know, Makoto is actually saved from this execution by Alter Ego. It's actually a really exciting turn of events when you see it for the first time, and the build up to the execution is pretty damn intense. However, since this execution is shared by 2 people and at the time we're not sure of Kyoko's ultimate talent, the theme itself ends up as a pretty generic one, and when you break down the execution itself, it's definitely one of the more simpler ones, saved by the intense build up, the good music, and the twist of Makoto being saved in true main protagonist plot armor fashion. Man, that lucky student talent really does come in handy. So yeah, that's 10 down and 10 to go. Be sure to join me next Halloween when I go over the rest of the top 10 Danganronpa executions. Now, I'll be sure to finish it soon, so you should make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with when the second part is coming out, and until next time, it's goodbye from me.